Friday morning on the DHA Morning Jolt, 2-minute drill time. Jim Monaghan along with Chris Swendeman. Swendeman, we've got the AFC NFC Conference Championship games. My thoughts, San Francisco. And yep, we're going to have another week of the Kelsey boys and Taylor Swift.
Well, I am going to half agree with you. I agree with Kansas City. I think until somebody beats them, they're going to keep rolling and they just know how to win. And I like Lamar, but Kansas City, just between Kelsey, Andy Reid, Mahomes, and all the momentum they have, they are going to go back to the game. Now, in the NFC, I couldn't disagree with you more. I would run through a wall myself for Dan Campbell at this point. Detroit is going to make their first Super Bowl appearance. It is going to be one of the biggest stories of the NFL playoffs. And I think you're going to see a really pumped up Detroit team go into San Fran and take the NFC championship game.
If indeed the Lions win, and that will be a huge story, obviously, I still think they'll be overshadowed by the Kelseys and the Swifties.
I mean, when you have that much star power in the stands alone, it's hard to not get overshadowed, especially when you now have Jason Kelsey, who is a fan favorite, and only just amplified that by picking up kids out of the crowd so they could say hi to Taylor Swift, who, by the way, also in the same skybox with them. I mean, the story just gets better every week, but for all the people complaining about it, you want to see fan reactions when the team scores a touchdown. And it just so happens you have a lot of star power sitting on the sidelines that are rooting for Kansas City. Deal with it, folks. It's not going anywhere.
What a time to be alive. Meanwhile, we just had the Cooperstown Hall of Fame selections and 3 names coming through. I think all three were deserving, but I also think that they're opening the door to a lot of questions, specifically Todd Helton, who I think now you have to go back and look at Don Mattingly and Joe Mauer. And while I think Mauer belongs, I think Helton belongs. I think we're going to end up starting to go back and look in history at some other guys and go, well, if Mauer's in, if Helton's in, why isn't that guy in? And Mattingly is one of the guys who I think is going to come up in that case.
Absolutely. I'm a huge Yankee fan, and I always questioned whether Mattingly had the longevity to make it to the Hall. And while I think his numbers were good for the amount of time he played, I always considered him marginal. Now with Mauer only made it by like 1%, I think. And you look at the other catchers that are in, it took them a while. So Mauer being a first ballot Hall of Famer raised some eyebrows, yet somebody who's been on the ballot for so many years, like Billy Wagner, missed it by 5 votes. Why?
Yeah, very strange. Very strange.
The whole thing to me is very sanctimonious when it comes to that. This guy gets in. This guy doesn't deserve it yet. Well, he's only been on for 3 years. Come on, stop, guys. What game are we playing? You're going to like him more next year than you did this year? I just think it's silly.
The other one that surprised me not getting in was Andrew Jones, who was during his playing days. I mean, he played every game and he was the best defensive center fielder in baseball. Maybe the offensive numbers are what kept him out, but Chris, he was a dominant player at his position.
No argument from me. I think he should be in. And at some point, his numbers are rising, and they expect within the next maybe 1 to 2 years, he would get the 75% votes needed. And when he does, that's going to open another door. Because now, if it's Andrew Jones, well, let's look at other players that have been so great defensively that aren't in yet. And that might open the opportunity for other players.
And with that, we wrap up the 2-minute drill here at 105.5 WDHA on the morning. Joe, good luck to your Lions this week, Swendeman, and we both think the Chiefs are going to win.
Absolutely. I'm going to keep my shirt on this weekend, and I'll let Jason Kelsey do all the heavy lifting for the Kansas City fans.